Welcome to the Good Games Podcast, episode 150. Damn, 150, we made it. That's crazy. So this is a show where we talk about video games and gamer-related things. My name is Frank from Manso, and I'm your host. As always, I'm joined by the co-host of the show. First, we got Alex Nunez. What's happening, man?
Do we catch them all now? We've got 150 episodes.
One more.
We've done like extra stuff. This is the side like bonus content. Maybe that counts as like the extra missing number or whatever.
Maybe.
No, you gotta push the truck. We gotta push the truck at the SSN in order to get 151.
Man, we gotta open that path up. That's true. Yeah. Well, one more, and then we'll catch them all. And as you also heard, we have Khalik Dorset. What's up, man?
I'm doing all right, man. Yo, I gotta tell you this. I'm not gonna talk. I haven't talked about Dragon Ball Super in a long time, but this is the hypest shit.
Oh Lord,
this is the hypest shit. No, look, it's a universal world tournament. A universal tournament.
Mm-hmm.
If they lose, the universe blows up.
Oh,
they're getting all the warriors. People coming back. Android 17. Just weird, obscure stuff. But it's so bad. They're like, hey, you got to team up with Frieza.
What?
Yeah, it's bad. We went into hell and got Frieza. He gets 1 day or something along those lines. So you have to team up with Frieza. Obviously, no one's okay with this.
Wow.
Obviously. Wow. And I was like, oh, this might be the coolest thing. This is interesting. Yeah. And another thing, I gotta say this. They finally explain why Gohan sucks. They explain why Gohan always loses fights. They had a whole episode about it.
Oh, great.
Okay.
So will he actually be good now? Like he's supposed to be? He's supposed to be the chosen one, man.
Dude, Piccolo basically was like, yo, why don't you win fights, man? No, seriously. Why don't you win fights? It doesn't make any sense. Why are you not stronger than your dad? And Gohan was like, I don't know. He's like, nah, because you slacker. You're a slacker. That's it. You don't care. You get mad cocky. You're a slacker. He's like, oh, that's it? Yeah, stop being a slacker. All right, I'll fix that.
All right.
I just condensed 23 minutes for you, but that's the gist of what happened. Yeah. So anyway,
that seemed very anticlimactic.
No, because I made it sound that way. Also, female Broly showed up, and she's like the coolest thing in the world.
Female who?
Why?
Female Broly. Her name is not Broly, but she seems to be the equivalent of Broly in this timeline. Yeah.
Wow.
Her name is Caulifla.
Caulifla.
Yeah,
I'm really glad we don't talk a lot about Dragon Ball Z anymore.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't want to get it too deep, but those are just a few things that happened this week. Well, in the past few weeks, and I was like, all right, this Frieza thing is a little too nuts for me. I got to talk to somebody. Yeah. So if you ever want to get in, you want to see like the most blasphemous team up of all time in Dragon Ball, it's about to happen. Yeah, other than that, I'm good.
All right. Well, thank you. I've been meaning to catch up on Super, but I think if I started now, even though things sound like shit's starting to get real, but like if I started now, I'd be utterly confused, and I feel like I'd have to go all the way back.
No, I think like if you're familiar with those 2 movies that came out, you could just start at like episode 30 and just go from there. Like you don't need to watch the first 30 episodes in. You could just go up. Yeah, watch the 2 Dragon Ball, well, the latest movies, then start from episode 30, and it's pretty much original content. But the thing is, the show doesn't get good till like episode 55.
That's a lot of episodes.
I know.
Yeah, that's like 2 seasons of a show.
There's some good stuff in there, but like literally until Trunks shows up, it's okay. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, that's the way I recommend it. So you could either watch 30 episodes or skip all of it and just watch 2 movies that give you the gist of what happened those 30 episodes. Yeah.
Well, all right. Since this being episode number 150, thought we'd do something a little different today. And I'm kind of interested to hear of your personal experiences regarding this, but I just figured that we'd share some anecdotes that we've experienced in our lives regarding video games, whether it's just like a story about a particular incident that you might have encountered, or a character, or even with another person that you were playing the game with. But I just wanted to kind of just take a moment and kind of get away from playing actual games and talking about them like we usually do, and just talk, but about playing video games. So weird enough. so yeah, I just figured that we just try something a little different for the big 150. 150. God damn.
Mm-hmm. Been doing this a bit.
Been doing this for a little while.
Yeah.
Well, in any case, so yeah. So I hope you guys got some good stuff for us. And
I hope so.
Yeah, we'll see.
I gotta keep it PG.
Well, you don't have to, but if you feel like you should, then by all means. So we're gonna go in the same order that we usually go. So Alex, hope you got something for us, man, because I'm interested in hearing, like, because people have very unique experiences depending on what game it is or whatever the circumstances might have been. So yeah, you got a story for us?
Yeah, I think so. I've trying to think about it. I was trying to think of like a game that I had just like a really, like, I don't know, visceral, like, gut reaction to, and I don't know, I don't get that a lot, at least not on this level. But then I remembered my time with the first season of the Walking Dead games from Telltale Games.
Okay.
And there was one character that just I could not stand anymore. And I really wanted this character to die. And man, okay, so let's rewind back to when this character was introduced. I think it was like episode 2 of the first season of The Walking Dead. This guy's name is Ben. If you played Walking Dead season 1, I wonder how your feelings are for Ben as compared to mine, because I know where I land on this side of the argument. But when Ben is introduced, he's fine. Like, I had no problem with him. He kind of stumbles into the group with some other people that he's with. He's a younger kid. He's like, I want to say like around like between 16 and 18 years old or something. And he's in the group. He's, a little young kid, and he's trying to figure out his place in the world, especially with all this zombie crap happening. And some things happen in like the subsequent episodes where he basically makes a mistake, causes some trouble for the group, and I'm like okay with it. Like, I forgive him because it's like, you know what, he's a dumb kid. He thought he was trying to do the right thing. Whatever. We go on, and I think it isn't until like, I forget what episode it is. I want to say it's like episode 4 or 5 where things take a turn, or at least they took a turn for me. And we were going to this town. I think we ended up in Savannah, Georgia, in the story, and we were going, and there's like zombies all over the place, and we're trying to get to this like one safe house or something. And in the story, the main character Lee gives Ben one job to do while we're doing this thing, and stuff pops off, and he just runs off and doesn't do the one thing I asked him to do. And at that point, his fate was sealed. I'm like, Ben, you're fucking dead to me. I literally said to my TV, the first fucking chance I get, you're dead. You are a dead man, Ben.
I'm going to murder you.
Kill you, you son of a bitch. You son of a bitch.
Oh my God.
So yeah, in that same episode, it gets progressively like things are ramping up. We're going to do like this big heist on this I forget what it is, like some school, and I don't know, there's some supplies there. I forget exactly why we're there, but we're there. And prior to us setting up the heist, I think Ben comes to Lee, the main character, and he's having a crisis of conscience where he wants to basically open up, I think, on the thing that he did in the previous episodes and tell the rest of the group, because I don't think we told the rest of the group. And he wants to tell, I think there's one character in particular, Kenny. I forget what the deal is between the two of them. I think one thing might have led to another that deeply affected Kenny in one of those episodes. And I'm telling Ben, like, okay, I understand that you have to get this off your chest. But one, Kenny, he's kind of crazy, and he's not going to take that news very well. And we're about to do this very high-stakes heist right now, so please keep that shit to yourself until after we're done. And then he's kind of like reluctantly like, oh, whatever, okay, fine. We're doing the heist. Things are going crazy. And then like literally at the worst minute, at the worst time, Ben is like, fuck it, I can't take it anymore. I have to tell you, Kenny. And I'm like, me as Lee, I'm like looking at you. Ben, don't you fucking do this.
Don't do this.
We had this conversation, Ben. Not now. Not now. Not to this man. Fuck no, don't do this. And he fucking does it. And I'm like, God damn it, Ben, you son of a bitch. And then I forget what happens later. There's like this crazy escape scene. And then, of course, Ben is like trailing behind and he slips and falls. And then my character Lee catches him at the last second. I'm like, why the fuck did you do that? Why? Like, if I could like stop time right before the point that Lee went to grab Ben's hand, I would have just like got a whole big stick of butter, put that shit all over his hand, just like grease it up. Just like, nah, it's not even worth it.
Should have just slapped his hand away. Like, no.
Not in my house. Man. And yeah, and then like Ben, he's pleading with you, and he's basically telling you to let him go because he's not worth it. And I'm like, you're just making this easier for me, Ben. And I could not press that button fast enough. I just like, nope, get rid of him. And I was so happy when that happened. I was like, yeah, finally justice is served.
Oh my goodness.
But it's like, it's very rare, especially in like a video game where I had such like a visceral reaction to a character in a game. And I think that speaks to like how well written that first season of The Walking Dead, because I've never felt strongly one way or another since playing that game. But Ben, man, fuck Ben. Like, I don't like Kenny either a lot, but Ben just took it to a whole nother level. I'm like, you fucked up, and you fucked up bad, and you fucked up bad multiple times. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, I'm liking that whole, the first chance I get, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to murder you.
Out loud in my living room
to the TV.
I was like, fuck you. It's like, man, yeah. That first season of Walking Dead is so good. And both of you haven't played it yet, right?
I haven't finished the first season of The Walking Dead, but I have it. I just haven't gotten around to finishing it.
Oh man.
Yeah, everybody says it's so good.
Yeah. The ending is what sticks out a lot. Like there are things in that last episode don't really hold up well, but like the last like 10 or 5 or 10 minutes or so are some of the best stuff.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
I definitely have to get back to it, and hopefully I can kill Ben off before he starts.
Well, I don't know. Maybe you won't feel the same way. Who can say?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm alone in this Ben hate. Because it does the thing with the percentages of like who you go into or what did you choose to do, and I don't remember how it went for Ben, but I don't know if I was in the minority or not. But it wasn't like a landslide either way. I remember that. So I'm like, man, I don't know what's wrong with people. Like, I don't know. I just felt very strongly against Ben. He's not worth having in the group.
Yeah. But
I guess in a happier note, I don't know. I'm kind of conflicted. I don't know if I want to talk about this just because I did talk about this technically on the show like forever ago though. But there was Destiny, right? This is a game I play a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're known for it.
Haven't played it in a while, actually, it seems.
I've been playing it fairly regularly lately because I'm on the quest to get my Icebreaker. Icebreaker is an exotic sniper rifle, and it's one like if Destiny has like these broken like OP exotic weapons, Icebreaker is number 2, right behind the Gjallarhorn.
Okay.
And Icebreaker was recently released as part of one of the last updates. I think the Dawning update, which was like I think in December or something. And I still haven't gotten it, so I was just trying to grind out to get that gun. But then I was reminded of the story when I got my first Icebreaker in year 1, which maybe this might ring a bell for you longtime listeners, but I might as well go into it again just to leave us on a happy note. But I remember when I was trying. Well, so back in year 1, it was much harder to get exotic weapons. Now it's a lot easier, but before it was basically you had to do certain events like raids and hope against hope that you might get an exotic drop and hope that exotic that you do get by chance is the one that you want. And then every weekend there's this exotic vendor that comes around and sells exotics, but that's also random. You never know what he's going to sell each week. But one of these weeks he was selling the Icebreaker. And I was like, oh man, this is like the second time he sold this thing. I really need an Icebreaker. And it was, I think this came like right after the first expansion came out. So with the first expansion, they increased the light level cap. So I was still able to do like the end game content, like nightfalls and stuff that you would normally use to get the currency needed to buy the stuff. But now I was like at the bare minimum level, I think, to do the nightfall, which is not going to be easy because like the damage scaling back then was insane. So like one level even was like a lot of damage that you were going to get dealt to you, and you weren't going to do much more damage. So it just made everything a lot more difficult. So I was like, I think I lamented on Twitter that, oh man, Icebreaker's being sold this weekend and I'm not going to be able to get it because the math doesn't work out. Like I'm not going to be able to play and do the nightfalls and get the currency I need. And I think at that time also I didn't have a lot of friends that were playing the game. So it was like I was pretty much by myself and not being able to do the thing. And I don't know, somebody just randomly replied to me on Twitter and was like, and kind of give me advice like, oh, hey, you just have to do this nightfall thing. And then I kind of explained the whole situation where I am at level wise and all that. And we had a back and forth, and he eventually just offered to help me get the Icebreaker.
That's cool.
And we set it up. And I think that weekend we did the strikes together, and he helped grind out some stuff with me. And there was a point we had to switch characters, and I had to go on a different character that wasn't as high level. So I had to run it on my main character and then switch out to my second character while we were in the last boss room just so I could get the rewards for that character. It was all crazy and convoluted, but the guy was like going the extra mile for like no reason. Like he would just randomly on Twitter is like, hey, let me help you out with this thing. And it turned out to be a real cool thing. And yeah, once I got enough coins that I needed to buy the thing, we went back to the tower and got my Icebreaker, and he was with me the whole way. And I was like very, very grateful for that dude just randomly just, hey, popping up on my Twitter and saying, let's do this thing.
That's cool.
And I was like, yeah, that's fucking awesome, man. Like the Destiny community is like full of stories like that shit. And like I've had other people like helping to do other things in the game, and then they reciprocate, and it's just like all fun and all good, and it just makes you all feel good. And it's like, man, it's not like the usual thing where you go play a game and you're like getting teabagged and like they're calling your mother names and shit, and I'm like, I don't know about it. This is very toxic and stuff like that.
Like, but you don't even know me.
But occasionally there is some good stuff to come out of it, especially out of Destiny, at least from my experience. So
that's
cool.
I
was like, yeah, that was a cool thing that happened.
Oh man,
it's cool.
All those years ago.
I don't know, for some reason what you were saying reminded me of this video that it's fairly recent, but there were these guys in Call of Duty, I think, playing tic-tac-toe with their guns on a wall.
Okay.
So they shot the map, and then they started shooting X's and O's. And so like they were on their way to a tie, but they were still going to finish the game. And then I don't fucking know where there's an airstrike, and it fucking blows up the wall, and then it blows them up too. And I'm like, holy shit! And you see, and as they die, you just see these two jets flying by, and I'm like, that's fucking fucked up. That's so bad. So it's kind of like alluding to like what you said about like you just like the community in some other games is like fuck.
Yeah,
you know, some people just want to have like fun, and then people just got to go blow shit up in their own way. Sometimes literally.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Oh, very cool. And thanks for sharing.
Yeah.
And Khalik, we're on to you.
Okay. Yeah, so my first one, and funny enough, it's in a wrestling game of all things.
Okay.
But
of course.
It got to be, right? So the game in particular was SmackDown versus Raw 2008, PlayStation 3. In that game, they had a story mode where you can play as 5 different superstars, or 4 in a created character. And I beat the game already on normal, and I said that was pretty easy. Let's bump it up to hard. No big deal. The thing about these particular games is the difficulty goes from normal, like it's basically baby mode, to fuck you, man, like immediately. Whereas like we don't want you to win anymore. Okay.
So AI is reading your inputs and stuff like that.
Oh no, that's Hall of Fame. See, literally, the last mode is so broken that you can't even reverse moves. Like, don't try. Like, it's wrong. They will reverse all your moves, and you can't reverse any moves. Like, it's broken on purpose. I don't know why they designed the game like this, but In the story mode, I had Rey Mysterio, high flying, luchador, and I had to do a submission match with Chris Jericho. I was like, okay, pretty good. I think I got this. So, and I've said before that the game gets like way harder, and I'm just fighting Chris Jericho and trying to work down his limbs because every limb there's like a health meter for each limb, and I'm trying to work on the neck, and it gets to red, and I said, "Oh, it's time to do submission moves," and I've been beating on him for like 15 minutes. So I was like, "Okay," and I'm going to lock in the move, and it goes literally to the last point that it could possibly go, and Chris Jericho just kicks out. I was like, okay, let's keep working on the neck. And 15 minutes later, I tried again, and it wouldn't let me submit Chris Jericho. So I said, well, let's try again. And I used, I think, 15 finishing moves. 15 finishing moves. I was using Chris Jericho's finishing moves at some point because you can steal them. You can. There's a mechanic in the game where if you use two specials, you can use your opponent's finishing move. And I was like, okay, let me work on the neck again, and it wouldn't work. So I said, fuck it, let's just break his whole body. And I worked on Chris Jericho for maybe an hour and a half. Of just trying to beat him up and submit him. And it kept going, and it kept going. And meanwhile, he's getting his hits in, but I'm doing all right. And I get one move, and it doesn't work again. And he gets up, hits me with his special, and makes me tap in 3 seconds.
Damn.
The game was like, there's like a meter, you could tap it. And like you try to fight it, and the game's like, don't fight this. Don't fight this.
Let it happen.
It's like, no. And
not like this.
Literally, the minute that thing, the bell rung, I got up, unplugged my PS3. That didn't turn it off. Unplugged it and said, I will never play this game again.
Oh man,
because that was complete bullshit. And I went online and they went, yeah, you had the option to not choose that match. Don't ever choose that match. You cannot win. It's impossible.
You got hit by the psychological walls of Jericho.
It's bad because I got hit with that and the real walls of Jericho.
Yeah.
Like I lost to the walls of Jericho. Like both sides. It was, man, that was bad. I had other people want to play the game, and I was like, yeah, but we can't play story mode. And I explained to them, and they was like, that's not real. And I was like, all right, go ahead. And I think like after 10 minutes. 4
hours later.
No.
5 minutes.
It just wasn't even worth it. It was like, oh, why is it so hard? I was like, just stop right now. Like, don't waste your life, please. So yeah, I still have that game here. And I was like, I just look at it just to remember the bad times. Just remember that golden moment.
But hey, while you were in that moment, you actually thought that it was something that you could have accomplished. So that's good.
Yeah.
Until it got to the point where it was 90 minutes later and nothing was happening. But yet you submitted in 3 seconds.
Dude, it's like in the TV shows where you found out somebody in your team is the villain. Like the game was, I thought it was on my side. I thought the game was on my side. And it said, you think we was playing one game, we're playing another game.
Playing my game.
Yeah, as Roddy Piper used to say, you ask the questions, I change the answers. Like, you just like switching it up. Like, it's like you're just switching it up. But yeah. So I guess like that's one of, it's immediately come to mind as my angriest one. And this next one I want to tell, it's a little bit of anger, but I think it ends on a good note. So my favorite Pokemon game was Pokemon Gold. And I played Yellow, but I never beat it. Maybe I think I was just a little too young. I didn't really think of Pokemon like that. Well, I was using Game Sharks and ended up corrupting the game. That's a story for another day. But yeah, I had Pokemon Gold, and I said, yep, I'm just going to play Pokemon Gold. It's going to be the best. And I'm playing the whole game, and I get to the Elite Four. Now, this is a problem that most people won't be able to like get anymore. You guys remember that you had to put batteries in your Game Boys.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
In Game Boy Color. And the Elite Four in Pokemon Gold isn't the hardest Elite Four because it's relatively low level compared to what happens, later in the game. But I guess I had a team that wasn't very fit to fight them, and I kept dying over and over and over. And I was a kid I'd have a lot of money, so I would go to the store and buy really cheap AA batteries. Mm-hmm. Not even like Duracell, like other stuff. Like Panasonic. Like Panasonic batteries or PowerCell. Like just the worst stuff. And I'm starting to get a groove in this Pokemon game in Gold, and I get up to Lance. And Lance is a champion. He has 3 Dragonites. 3 Dragonites, a Charizard, Aerodactyl, and a Kingdra. Dragon-like Pokemon. And the first time I'm playing him, just demolishes me. It's like, no problem. And this happened like 8 more times. I kept getting a Lance, couldn't beat him. So I would say somewhere 9th or 10th time, I'm getting there. The light's flashing red on that Game Boy Color.
Uh-oh.
Which means you don't got a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you got to do this now. And I was like, okay. I'm getting there. And it said, oh, Lance will call out this last Dragonite. I said, yeah, let's go. As soon as Dragonite comes on screen, game shuts down. And I was doing good. I had my Pokemon was alive. It was very, very active. And just like pure rage. Just the purest of rage. But then I turned the game on and I realized, hey, I didn't save the game in like an hour and a half.
Oh, God. That's one of the worst feelings.
So I got to rebuild up all my Pokemon to the level. Okay. I need to get away. I wanted to cry. Like, I was about to break down in tears.
Uh-huh.
Like, it was just like the worst moment. And
why didn't you just plug into a wall outlet, man?
No, you need the adapter for that. What are you talking
have
about?
An adapter?
What, for a Game Boy Color? Like,
Hell
what are you
yeah.
talking?
Yeah, man.
It doesn't come with an adapter. You have to buy that separate.
Well, yeah, but still, you gotta get one.
Well, my parents, that didn't really happen. Like, I was a kid.
Yeah.
Like, I can't control these things. I also wanted a worm light, but they thought it was stupid. You should just use the lamp.
I at one point had that worm light, and then also had that crazy thing for the old Game Boy with the magnifying glass and had the lights built into it and all that bullshit.
I had that too.
Yeah, I had that. I ended up getting all of that for the Game Boy Advance, of all things, which, by the way, has like the worst backlit screen of all time.
It was not backlit.
There is none.
I know, it's like exactly, like there's nothing. I almost, now we're talking about, I almost missed the days of holding my Game Boys like right under a lamp. Like right under a lamp just to see it. But yeah, so I trained them up again and I like grinded really like insanely hard. And I finally get to Lance and has to be my toughest battle with him yet. And my last Pokemon was a Feraligatr. Feraligatr is a final evolution of Totodile. I know you guys know that. But and Charizard comes out. I have no moves except Icy Wind. It's ice.
Jesus Christ. That's some crazy slobber knocker of a match. You don't have any more moves left.
Yeah, dude, like Feraligatr, my best Pokemon. Everything kept dying. I gave him Icy Wind. I thought that would be a cool move.
Mm-hmm.
And if people don't know Pokemon games, fire Pokemon are strong against ice type moves.
Mm-hmm.
So Feraligatr has red health. It's red. It is frustrating. I think I lost. I at this point, Charizard also had red health, but he had the worst kind of red health when you hit him with a move, but it slinks by like just like a slug. It just slowly goes down and you don't know if he'll ever stop.
Mm-hmm.
And I hit him with 1 Icy Wind. Only had 2 left, funny enough. I hit him with 1 and it misses.
Oh shit. Oh no.
And then said, Charizard, will you seismic toss?
That was super effective.
No, funny enough, he missed.
What?
Nice.
He missed. And I sat at my Game Boy staring. Like, this is like the most
you had
intense.
1 move left.
I have one move left, and as soon as I do that, that battery is blinking red again.
Oh shit!
No. like literally, I'm frozen. I was frozen. I didn't want to move because I have to finish this game, but I can't win. It's impossible. It's impossible. So I said, you know what? Let's hit him with that icy wind, and it hit him, and that health just inked down slowly and slowly. And it said, it's not very effective. And he dropped.
Nice.
He dropped. And I literally cried. I know I was crying. It was in tears. I have no shame. It was like the greatest moment of my life when that happened.
Did you get a chance to save, though?
Listen. So the credits are going through. And I was like, okay, you get Professor Birch, and you're just going and going and going. I'm like, yes. Come on, please hurry up, credits, please. How do I speed these up? But I was a dumb kid. I wanted to see who made the game. I didn't think logically. Oh, hey, you should probably not. I said, okay, all right. And you go through it, and it says, do you want to save your game? And I said, yes. It took to the title screen, shuts off.
Wow.
Jesus, no.
So I said, okay. Got some batteries.
Yeah, you needed to invest in some better batteries, man, because it's cutting it too close.
Or an AC adapter. Dog, for real.
But here's the good
Duracell. Energizer.
Okay, see, but here's the thing. So if you're familiar with bodegas, sometimes they sell fake Duracell batteries.
Yeah. This
is a real thing, people. I am not making this up.
Was it the time that they had those bars on the batteries, the ones that told you squeeze them, that told you how much power they had left?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never get the Chinese ones. Never get the Chinese. Frank, you know what I'm talking about, man. You don't get the Chinese batteries because they're fake. They're always fake. They don't last as long. And I ran to the store with the speed of God, picked up a couple more batteries, turned the game on, and it kept my data.
Nice.
And it kept my data. I was outside of my home, and I let out another tear, and I cut the game off for a week. So I said, that was it. I can't get any better than this. To this day, probably my greatest gaming moment. Like that right there. It was just too much.
Nice.
So, yeah. So sometimes things can go very badly for you and might turn out. To think, if I just skipped the credits, I wouldn't have had this problem. If I just fast forward through them.
If it let you.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good... I don't know if it does.
Yeah, I don't know either.
That's a great... Yeah. I'll never know. I will never know. I'll keep the memory I've had in my heart for the last... What is it? 16 years. Yeah, 16 years.
Damn.
Yeah. So yeah, that's
that actually reminds me. I want to get this off my chest. It's not like a long story or anything, but I was reminded of the time that I bought Pokemon Gold.
Okay.
And I don't know what prompted it, but me and one of my cousins were like, "Yo, Pokemon's out. Let's go to Toys R Us and buy it." And we literally walked like 20 minutes to the nearest Toys R Us and bought that shit. We had to decide because it was very serious. Like, we can't have both the same version. So he's like, he had to get silver, and I got gold. I don't know. I don't remember how that went or what the decision making was, but that's what happened. And then we got our games. We went back home, and there was a lot of people I remember at home, and I just remember being on the couch playing Pokemon Gold, and just fucking 10 kids crowded around the screen, the Game Boy Color screen around me. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Got all my stepbrothers and then their cousins and shit. It was crazy. But yeah, that first day of having Pokemon was nuts.
Oh,
oh my goodness!
I'm not trying to one up you, Khalik, but I have a battery story as well. It involves the Game Gear. Remember the Game Gear? The battery eater? That was the battery eater. I
remember I had the rechargeable battery just because.
Just because of that. Just because of the Game Gear.
Dude, I thought that was a myth until years later. Oh. I had your buddy upstairs. They have it. His family had it. Mm-hmm. and I seen it one time, and I said, "Man, this Sonic game looks really good," and the game just died. It just died. I was like, yo, is this real? It's like, no. Like, I said, how long is the battery? He's like, it might be like 2 hours. Like, I was like, I'm not sure.
Yo, okay, so
I almost played Game Gear exclusively from the wall. Just like, fuck it.
I mean, the adapter. After realizing this, and after you hear this story, I just suffice to say that I got the adapter. Like, I invested in the adapter, and I played exclusively from the wall in my kitchen in my mom's house. Like, but so yeah, the Game Gear was a fucking battery eater. I mean, yo, the Sonic games did look really good. The story does involve a Sonic game. It involves Sonic Triple Trouble. I don't know if you guys played that game.
Hell yeah.
Oh, you okay? No. Okay, so
I don't remember much about it, but I know I had like almost all of those Sonic games.
Yeah, I had Sonic 1, 2, Sonic Chaos, Sonic Triple Trouble. I had all of them too. But yo, Sonic Triple Trouble, right? Okay, so Khalik, I know the story sounds very similar, but trust me, this happened. I swear to God.
It's okay.
So
it's okay.
Okay, so playing Sonic Triple Trouble, right? The Game Gear is huge in my hand. 6 batteries. I had just bought a pair of new batteries that day because I was determined to beat that game, right? So I put the 2 new batteries in. You know, everything started up great. And yo, I was speed running through the game because I knew I only had so much time. So I get to the last boss of Sonic Triple Trouble. I never got that far in the game before, right? And I was just using Sonic. Like, you had the choice between Sonic or Tails. So I was using Sonic. Yo, I'm fighting the last boss. All of a sudden, well, okay, I'm not going to say all of a sudden. The Game Gear light was blinking for a while by this point. So I was at the last zone, last level, and I get to the final boss and it's been blinking and I'm like, you know what? I still have a little more time. I'm like, you know, I got to have faith. Yo, I'm fighting the last boss. All of a sudden I hear like a giant pop, like a pop sound. And I'm like, what? But the game is still going, right? And I had the covers on the batteries, and I'm like, I don't know what the fuck that was. But I'm like, I'm going to keep playing. So, yo, you know, you have to hit the boss 8 times to kill the boss. So I hit the boss 7 times, and, you know, I'm dodging the boss's bullshit.
Oh, no.
Yo, I swear to God, I'm dodging the boss's bullshit. And then I'm like, I see my opportunity. I take the leap. The game fucking shuts off. And I'm like, no, what happened? So after all my crying and bitching, I'm like, what the fuck was that sound? So, you know, so I'm like, so I went downstairs and I got some new batteries. I swear I seemed like a crackhead for batteries, man. Like, yeah,
oh yeah,
I was going down like every other day getting new batteries.
You got any batteries?
Yeah, seriously, I was asking my mom, like, Mom, you got any money for batteries?
Yo, Mom, if I put these in the freezer, how long they gonna last?
Yo, hey, I did that too. Yo, okay. Yep. So I think some of the batteries that I was using were freezer batteries. Right?
Yeah.
So I opened the backs of the batteries because it held 3 on each side. Yo, 2 of the batteries popped, like for real, legit pops. Like, battery acid was like everywhere in those things, and I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, that could have been really fucking bad. But I'm like, I just wanted to fucking beat the game though. Like, I never tried after that because I was just like too like heartbroken. But yeah, the struggle is real with those batteries, man. Like, dude, especially with the Game Gear, fuck that shit.
Yeah.
No fucking way. Adapter exclusively.
Man, no, it's funny you bring that up because it's obviously something that'll never happen again. You miss it due to nostalgia purposes, but it was such a pain in the ass to get batteries. It was for the Game Gear. I can't even imagine. It's like,
yeah, I was serious. Like, every other day, I tried the freezing batteries method. I tried the method of just leaving the batteries like outside, right? Like out on my windowsill. You know, because it was kind of cold at that time.
Did you ever roll them?
No, I never tried that actually. But I kept switching the batteries. I even switched the battery positions just to see if it would do something. You know, like I was desperate. Like, I wanted a fucking, man, those batteries, it was so hard to get batteries.
I'm glad my dad was a smart/cheap because he got me the rechargeables for that thing. And it's like, nah, we're not gonna buy money for batteries. We just stick with this one thing. There you go.
That's when they were selling that's when I could get batteries from like the 99-cent store. Like two for $1.
No, yeah, you get like bullshit like Power Cell.
Yeah.
And Duraflex.
Duraflex.
I mean, I don't know if that's. I don't know. I think that's something else. That sounds bad. Oh, man.
But yeah. But thanks for sharing, man. That was yeah. That sounds like it was painful, but it worked out, and it was a little close for comfort. But at least you made it. So
man, I don't know what's going on.
So okay, so moving on to me, I guess. So I have 2 stories. My first story involves so you guys know Darkstalkers, right?
Oh yeah,
the first one. So this involves the first game. So
oh man,
the first Darkstalkers, love that game, and this is when it first came out for the PS1. All right, and it's like 97, I believe, or 96. So playing that game, I had a pretty easy time getting through the game. I was using Dimitri at the time, and then I get up to the fucking final boss, Pyron. Yo, I don't know about you, but at that time, Pyron was whipping my ass left and right, up and down the street. Like, he was fucking killing me. Like, he seems to have an answer for everything. Like fucking like insane throws, fireballs that covered the screen, created shockwaves whenever they hit anything. It was like, he was insane. Like, it got to the point where I became like legit scared to fight that dude, because like anytime I heard his like theme song pop up, I'm like, oh my God, this is it. Like, I'm gonna die. Yo, I was not able to beat Pyron for like 6 months. And wow. I was like, I'm like, why? Why not? I had such an easy time with everyone else, but he was just fucking me up. And so I gotta say, there was the moment that I finally fucking did it. And you're not gonna believe how I did it. I did it with a completely different character. A character that I only used the one time and I will never use again.
Okay.
But I beat the game with Sasquatch, of all people. Now, Sasquatch was mad good. All the characters in that game were really good. But I beat the fucking game with Sasquatch just cheesing one move. The spinning toe move.
That's the way to do it.
Couldn't get around it. He couldn't get around it. And I was just like, how is it that I'm using like Dimitri, who's like the Ryu of the game?
Yeah.
And I'm having so much trouble with this dude, because this dude, his attacks were crazy. And I got so heated. I spent 6 months trying to beat this guy. And I couldn't fucking do it. Dude. And I did it with Sasquatch. And I don't know. It felt like a bittersweet victory, because I finally did it. But I did it with the character I didn't even want to do it with.
But at what cost?
I know. I'm like, but what does that say? What does that mean? Like, I don't think I've ever legitimately tried to like go back and beat him with another character, because after that, I'm like, that's it. I don't have to do this anymore. I'm done. It's over.
Yeah.
So,
man. Yeah, that era, man. Fighting game bosses at that time were the fucking worst.
Yo, that was way before I even knew what SNK bosses were like. Yo, SNK bosses are ridiculous.
Bro, I swear I'm not trying to like one up you.
No, go ahead.
But I have a similar story. A few years back, me and one of my good friends, Devon, he had a MAME set up. And he said, all right, this is a game called Cyber. We were just like messing around.
Cyberbots?
And we found Cyberbots.
Nice.
Cyberbots. Never played the game before. I say, oh, wait, this is a game Jim's from. Okay. And we're there going through the story mode. Pretty decently difficult. Pretty difficult. And we get to like what we think is the last boss. It's like Ghost or something. And I'm probably wrong. And he is whooping our ass. Just straight like murder. Like disgusting.
Yep.
And we're doing this for like an hour. No, we're doing it for like half an hour. We're both just looking at each other and just passing back and forth. You don't even want to touch the controller. And we use Jen in the Bloodia. So we beat him, and I guess we did a decent job. So it was like, oh, that's not the final boss. Like, no. No.
It can't be anyone worse.
Yeah, I remember this name till the day I die. Hellion. This helicopter like missile shooting one. It was disgusting. To this day, have never fought a harder boss in a video game. It was just shooting missiles, and we're going back and forth. We both stepped away, and like we paused the main because you can't like pause arcade games. And then I said, like, should I just go home? I'll go home right now. Like, I don't. It's not worth it. He's like, no, let's try another one. We did like another 30 minutes. We just started. Oh, what's the best way to win? Just use the main punch. Just cheese the hell out of the main sliding punch. We got it. We, gave each other a pound, and we said we'll never play this game ever again. I will never touch this game again. Yeah, man. Like that's an era. Like all games in that period of time. Ugh. Like final bosses were just disgusting. Yeah, disgusting.
The SNK bosses were fucking disgusting. Like how fucking cheese. Like Rugal with the genocide cutter alone. That move alone killed entire teams. Like goddamn, it took so much damage and it just seemed to get worse as the years went by. Because as final bosses in fighting games go, man, and SNK had some of the worst. Like, oh my god, like Gonitz, Orochi, Zero, and you had Chrysalid, you had Magaki. Oh my god, horrible.
Like I've said before, I put a lot of time in like Fatal Fury 2, like a little too much.
Yo, Krauser, oh my god.
No, Krauser was bullshit. Krauser is straight up not fair. Like it's not fair.
Not fair.
It is just not fair.
Not fair at all. I mean, Geese Howard in the first Fatal Fury was not fair either.
Oh, no. When I seen...
The motherfucker had counters, but I'm like, no one has counters.
Geese Howard is the first video game boss that I ever looked at and said, I'll never do this. Like, I saw friends playing it, and I said,
this is never going to happen.
This is bullshit.
This
like,
what he's doing is...
Oh, I would just counter all your moves.
Yep.
I would do that, throw a couple Repukens, and then a Raging Storm will hit, and I was like, nah, that's not fair. Like, this is fun. It's not fun.
Yeah, Geese Howard had counters. So I'm like, I think that's the first time I've ever been exposed to a counter. I was ever exposed to a counter in a game. I'm like, what did he just do? I'm like, I try to hit him and I looks like I hit him, but then he flips me.
Just all day. He'll flip you to the other side of the screen. Yep. Or Repuken.
Double Repuken. Yo, Geese Howard was not fair. Krauser was not fair.
I've never beaten Krauser.
You never beat Krauser? Yo, I thought I did the impossible task because in order to get like the ending, true ending for that game, Fatal Fury 2, you had to beat the game without continuing. And I don't know about you, but the four bosses, like basically straight out of like Street Fighter, but the four bosses were hard. Like Axel Hawk and Lawrence Blood, hard.
Man, I hate Lawrence.
Lawrence Blood was the worst.
Lawrence Blood is... oh my God, I hate Lawrence Blood.
The worst.
That's a war of attrition. I hate that dude.
I know.
I hate that dude so much.
You have to block everything. But yeah, and he chipped you to death anyway. But yeah, so that's so Pyron. Pyron was definitely a boss that I still fear to this day. But I mean, like in later Darkstalkers games, they made him considerably easier. And I'm like, he's a piece of shit here. But the first Darkstalkers, just the way, nope. Fucking power, nope, couldn't do it. Couldn't beat him
because they knew. Come on, man.
I'm just like, God, like he was impossible. And he was, of course, they had him. I don't think you could ever use him in that game. Like there was no code, not even like Game Shark wise, you could use Pyron in those games, in that game in particular. But in any case. So my second story is kind of on a happy note, but it's a little more upsetting. So it has to do with it's not a fighting game story, but it has to do with a friend of mine. So long story short, I beat him in Alpha 3 blindfolded.
Mm-hmm.
Don't continue the story, Alex. Alex, right now. If you understand, like my relationship with Frank is solidified now. We should know what we're messing with. Like, I get it. He's good at Street Fighter. I know this. He's pretty okay.
Listen.
He's pretty okay. This is crazy. This is crazy, Frank.
Listen to the story. Listen to the story. It's not a long story. All right.
Okay.
So,
okay.
I knew something was up when he said friend, because he kind of said it with some like hesitation. Like, I don't know if we're still friends anymore.
It's a little suspect
anymore. But
let him tell the story.
All right, so I'll tell you guys a story. So we were at a friend's house. We got together. It was like a Saturday, and we were playing Alpha 3. This is when we imported it for the PS1. So it was the PlayStation port. So it wasn't the best version of Alpha 3 at the time, but it worked. It was still beautiful at that time. So we're playing, and I'm playing and beating everybody. And so they're like, what, Frank's not fair. Like, what, like, why don't you try to handicap yourself in some way? And I'm like, what do you mean? And then the friend that came up with the idea, he's like, you know what? Why don't you try to do it blindfolded? See how good you really are when you can't fucking see. And I'm like,
okay, all
right, I'll give it a shot. And I'm like, but I just have to see like where I'm starting off at, and then you can blindfold me from there. That's fine. And then they're like, all right, cool. So I used Ken, and I think he used Ryu or Fei Long. But anyway, so I was first player, and there was a friend of ours. So she basically, her job was to put the blindfold on me once the match started. Like once it said fight, then blindfold went on. So I looked at the positioning, and I don't know what it was, I felt like Daredevil. Like it was like I felt like my senses were on point.
Oh my goodness.
So I will never know exactly what happened. I know what inputs I was doing, but I didn't know like the positioning or whatever. And I would notice that like, if I tried to do an input, that it wouldn't come out, or I wouldn't hear like a Shoryuken or Hadouken. So I'm like, I'm probably on the wrong side. So let me try doing it the other way, and it would work. So all I remember hearing was, what the fuck? How? Like, no, that's not possible. And I'm like smiling. I'm smiling through this, but I'm just still trying to like fight a legit match, like trying to visualize where I was and what's happening. So I will never know what happened to this day, but I do know. So we fought 2 matches. So I won the first match. I lost 1 round. I lost the first round in the first match, and then I won the next 2 rounds. And then the second match, I won both rounds. So I will also say that I nearly perfected my friend in the final match.
Oh my!
The final round.
Serious.
Nearly perfected him in the first round of the final match. I nearly perfected him. He got
that mental guard break.
He got chip damage on me with I think it was it might have been Fei Long that he was using, but he did a Rekka, and he got me with one of the punches. So that was chip damage. So, but besides that, he didn't touch me.
What the
hell? I saw this for a fact, because it's just like, KO. She took the blindfold off of me, and I saw that he had no life, and I practically had all my life. And I'm like, damn. So, wow. Oh, and I also will say that any supers that I tried, I connected them all.
Jesus Christ.
What the hell?
Yo. I was like, I will never know. I wish somebody was like videotaping it or something, like back in that time. Because I was like, that's pretty fucking incredible,
dude. My salt would have been nuclear.
Yo,
like we couldn't be friends afterwards.
Yo,
it's over.
He was not happy about this. He was not happy about that. That's what I'm gonna say, because seriously. That to me is unbelievable, and I'm the one that did it. Like, shit.
Dude.
Wasn't there a handicap function in the game, like built in?
Yeah,
like,
right?
Lower your health. Fucking
There was, but I mean, I think of course both they and myself, we figured, well, if I'm blindfolded, that's a fucking pretty severe handicap. You can only do so much with audio. And, you know, with touch, you know, with the sense of touch, because you're inputting motions with your fingers, but yeah. He was pretty upset about this, and everybody was like laughing, and I felt really bad because like everybody's like laughing at him, and I'm like, God, this is so bad.
Your sense of smell was also heightened. You just sensed his fear. And just,
smelled the fear, smelled the sweat.
Oh yes,
the perspiration. Yeah. Yeah, so that was an interesting story. Yeah, he was not happy about that at all. I don't know, but I think it was all good because he kind of like understood that maybe he just wasn't that good at the game, and he was the one that recommended like play blindfolded. I'm like, all right. I'm like, I don't know who's not gonna like the result of this one, but
I don't care, man. You don't just humble a man like that, and they're okay. Yeah, like, that's an A-class humbling, S-class humbling.
Yeah, and I promise you, this happened. Like, we played 2 matches, and yeah, the blindfold only came off when I was like selecting my character, and when I saw like where like the distance between the 2 characters when the round started. That's it. And not even like the second round, just the first round. After that, like after the blindfold went on, it didn't come off until the match was completely over.
This dude you have spatial awareness. Like you straight up, that's a Daredevil move.
No,
you shape the environment around you.
I don't. Nah, I think we just because honestly we just played a lot of that game back in the day, and
yeah,
I think it was just I mean that's not something I don't think I could do that again. But that was crazy. That was a crazy time. So that was my other story. I have other stories, but I think that story is like unbelievable in its own right, you know. So
yeah, like unfortunately, like all my salty stories are just me being hyper salty, just like extraordinarily salty.
Yeah.
So it hits home. It's really hitting home for me right now.
Yeah, I just honestly wish I could have seen what transpired. Like I couldn't see anything. Like, but I heard like everybody's like, "What? Oh!" And this dude's like, "What the fuck? No! Huh? What? How?" You know, I landed all of my specials. That's crazy too.
Like, funnily enough, that might have helped you as well because you know you're doing the right thing.
Yeah,
right. I hope you slept well that night. Hope you had like the best sleep of your entire life.
I think I did. I did. I just didn't think of it as a thing. But yeah, man.
I have something similar where like I had a cousin of mine that we were competitive in Fight Night round 2 specifically.
Oh, those games are fun.
That's the best. That's the best one. Yeah.
Except he was bad at it because he used the buttons, which is fine, but he would fatigue himself. He wasn't in it for the long haul, and I would just counter everything. And he could never beat me because of that, because he would just tire out too quickly. Mm-hmm. And we were playing on the GameCube, and the way I learned how to play was on PS2 with the analog motions, like the fight, whatever control or whatever they called it.
Yeah,
yeah.
Playing on a C stick on a GameCube controller is a pain in the ass. Like literally, like as we were playing, I developed a blister. And he did not want to stop playing until he beat me, and he couldn't beat me. And I played until that blister popped, and he still couldn't beat me.
Wow!
It's just like the dedication on both sides was, no one wanted to give in, and he just it was sad to watch from probably both sides because I had to deal with that gross nastiness on my thumb. That's like whatever, but I still won. That's all that matters.
And that's what mattered. Yeah. Yeah, I had a time where like we switched up games. Like I went to another friend's house, and he had all these fucking games. So like we switched up games, and like I kept beating him in like every single game that we tried. So it was like Marvel vs. Capcom 2, beating him, and I beat him and all of our other mutual friends at the time. And then we played Power Stone, the first Power Stone, and was killing him in that too. Then we played Soul Calibur, the first Soul Calibur, killed him in that too. And then I think we played Third Strike. We played Third Strike. It was just, all on the Dreamcast, I think. And we played Third Strike, and it's killing them in that too. And they're like, "Yo, you play too many fucking video games." And I'm like, "No, what is that? Is that the excuse that you come up with?
You fucking try hard."
Is that the excuse we come up with? Just enjoy playing these games. You guys should enjoy us playing these games too.
Johns. That's all it was, man. We all get that one. Well, so I'm just surprised nobody tried to break a controller around you.
Well, I've got stories.
Okay,
about
we don't have to get into
physically breaking controllers, but like things have gotten kind of heated sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah. But in any case, so yeah, this was fun.
Yeah, right.
This was fun, guys.
We learned a lot today.
Near-death experiences with batteries and
yeah. Frank's been humbling people in fighting games for years. Yeah, best.
Oh man, I just want to play. That's
literally like the two games that made me cry were fighting games and Pokemon. So just let you know, my salt levels are infinite. Yeah. But no, this is great. This is great. I loved it.
We should do it again sometime.
Yeah, I know. Like just from here, we all got more. We're not even like we have a ton more.
Yeah, I have a few more, but kind of want to keep
stories for
days.
Light. Yeah,
for the most part. But
yeah, man.
Yeah, all right. So we are gonna move into. We're gonna talk about some headlines today because we can't give you an episode 150 without news. And some of this news is interesting. So Khalik's going to take us through that. But before he does that, this is your time to go to innercitygeeks.com where you can follow along with us. So now Khalik will take us through the headlines. So go ahead, man.
Thank you, sir. So our first headline of the week. So it was announced that Street Fighter V's next character will be Ed and Eddie character. Ed. Sorry, that's
which one? Single D or double D?
Well, okay, so it's single D. Double D can't fight. Double D can't fight. Remember, single D is the muscle. Double D is the brains. And Eddie is just the con man. Just how it works. Yeah. But no, Street Fighter V actually gave us a reveal trailer, an official reveal trailer of Ed. And just from the trailer, it looks like he's going to be a boxer, since it makes sense. He's learned on the Balrog, he got some tutelage. But the really interesting thing about him is that he will be a character that has no command inputs.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there will be no motions, for any of his moves. So you'll be able to use the 6 attack buttons to do pretty much all of his techniques, which is insane. I really can't remember anything happening like this in a fighting game.
At least not in a Street Fighter game, at least.
Well, yes, that's in a Street Fighter universe. Like, this is just something so unique. And I mean, he looks cool. He looks very different from how he looks in the actual game. In the story mode. He
gained like 100 pounds of muscle, apparently.
Yeah. So I don't know if that means that this is somewhere in the future. Maybe it's just like, maybe the character's just out of canon. Like, this is how he would look. Possibly
they did the same thing with Helen and Colleen. Like the look was bound to change from whatever they were in story mode to the full final product that appears now before us.
No, of course. It's just
Capcom retconning as usual.
See, the thing, I don't know if this is a retcon. This guy, he's gained like 100 pounds and he looks like 10 years older. It's insane. But yeah, I mean, he looks dope. He looks pretty cool. The mix between there's a psycho power, since he is supposed to be his clone of Bison, and some of Balrog. Well, a little bit of it. I see a little Rock Howard in him. I see a lot of Rock Howard.
I thought I was crazy. But yeah, I got that same vibe.
Like, I watched the trailer a couple times. It's like, nah, they're definitely stealing some Rock Howard out this guy. Like, I think it's on purpose. So, yeah, no, I'm really excited. We'll be able to test him out during the beta this coming weekend. How do you guys feel about this?
I think that with him being rather input heavy, it's definitely very different, and I'm kind of glad that Capcom is, trying new things when it comes to this, because like a lot of his inputs involve also combinations of buttons and holding buttons down, and you get different results depending on what you do. And I think his critical art is the only thing that has a traditional double fireball motion.
Yeah,
right.
But yeah, I kind of liked what I saw. It's just I'm just hoping that it translates well with his inputs. Like I hope it's not like too complicated to like achieve like some of the combos, or I hope it's not too easy. Then everybody's gonna jump on him, and then just use him to death, and you'll just see nothing but him at like Evo. So
yeah. Well, especially since he seems so different from pretty much any Street Fighter character ever.
Yeah.
Like it's because he's a boxer that can draw people in. Like he has that one move where he gets like spider net with his psycho power fingers, and he can pull you in. His V trigger is just this energy ball, like he's rushing at you.
Pretty much like it's just the energy ball. It's just like Leona's energy ball from KOF.
Man,
so that's exactly what that is.
He's just a KOF character now. Like, he's just a KOF character.
I never played the KOF games, but it looked very similar to one of DiCapre's Ultras as well. Where just that ball just kind of goes.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so Alex, what Frank's referring to, so the character Leona, she has this move. It's a charge move, but it's similar to like a Sonic Boom motion. But she'll just stop in place, and this energy ball just stays in place and hits you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. This I'm pretty sure this thing moves forward, and you can change the speed at which it moves forward as well.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So this is like very.
It's not like a fast projectile. It's very slow moving.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta give it to Capcom, especially since this is him and Fang are two of the most different Street Fighter characters of all time. Like just from hearing this.
Colleen too. She's
yeah.
different.
Colleen is super different.
Mm-hmm. You're right. Sorry, I forgot about her. And I would hope that the next character, it's way too early. We have to see once we actually get a feel on him. Mm-hmm. And I imagine we're all going to try to get the beta going on this weekend. Just to get a little quick test.
Yeah, especially now that it's on PS4 too.
Yeah. So I just got to know just a little bit. So, yep. I'm looking forward to that. So next up, because it's funny, I feel like we talk about the two things we talk about every week are like fighting games and Nintendo. That's just brand new. So yeah, I don't know if you guys are familiar with the deal about the Nintendo PlayStation, but back in the day, before Sony PlayStation came out, Nintendo and Sony was working on a concept or this console together, which is effectively called the Nintendo PlayStation. And however, it never came out because Nintendo decided to work with Philips and create the CDI. And no one was able to find this thing. And like no one knew if it even existed. But basically about 2 years ago, Terry Diebold, I'm not sure how to say his name, but he found this Nintendo PlayStation, and the thing just didn't work. If you look at it, it looks kind of like a Super Nintendo. Like a faded Super Nintendo if you had it in the sun for like a few years. But it's come out, and people since then have been, a couple people have tried to mess around with it and just see what's going on. Until you get Ben Heckerdorn of the Ben Heck Show on YouTube. He was able to mess around with it, and it looks like it's fixed on some level. And there's a little video that shows you exactly how it works and like the process you went through. And the thing is, he could play audio CDs, but video games don't work. Now there's a homebrew market already being worked on for this thing. There's a few homebrew games out. I believe there's 2. But it's still a bit glitchy because it's like a little prototype system. And this is super cool because it's kind of like the biggest what if in video games. Like, if this ever happened, like, video games, as we know, would be completely different. And, yeah, I don't know if you guys checked out the article or the video, but, like, what are your thoughts on this? Like, this missing console that may have homebrew games. People will be making games for this thing that doesn't work. And there's only one. There's only one of them in the entire world.
Yeah, I think it's cool. Like, it's a big piece of video game history. And I will say, I don't know if this is if you said that they did this, but they're now able to get or read video games or play video games from the CD-ROM drive. It's not just music CDs. Because that was the big sticking point. Like, I think prior to this, like, new revelation, they were able to get games to run on the Super Nintendo side of this thing. But it's just that, like, the CD-ROM was unable to read data. But after all the work that Ben Heck did recently, now they can, 1, play audio CDs, and 2, read games off of, like, a CD that's, I don't know, that I guess they burned a game onto. So now they pretty much have full access to the thing. And now it's up to, I guess, developers and homebrew people to make the software for it. And then to, I think, your other point, the games being glitched out, I think they had ironed that out as well. Because I think they mentioned in the video that, what was it? I think they got back to the developer of that game and they had to just readjust something in the code, and then now it works perfectly. So I think there's going to be much more stuff on that on the development side. But it seems like the hardware has been figured out now fully, which is cool because, again, as far as we know, there's only one of these things in existence, at least in some kind of working order. So I'm kind of excited, but I'm kind of curious, like, what's the point of, like, getting all this homebrew stuff working on this other than just, like,
right.
for novelty's sake?
Yeah, no, I mean, well, first, thank you for clarifying a few things. Yeah, there's even a quote in the article where someone say, "Yeah, we get some emulators going for this," but why?
Yeah,
like that's just the thing.
Well, maybe they can find because there's games floating around for the thing. That's the only thing I can think of. And maybe if, like, those things do surface, they can be preserved and you can play them as they were meant to be. If in case we can't get this hardware anymore, if it doesn't exist anymore, or at least we can emulate any old code that might be floating around for this thing.
Yeah, no, on that level, I can get it. It just feels, at least to me, that it's I don't want to say a waste of time, but the effort is a bit, it's interesting, but it's a very unique situation. That it's not just an old console, it's an old unreleased console that I don't know how many people, like, I'm curious, I'm curious. So if there was an emulator out for it, I would be curious as to know how that works and just look into it a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I just even like buttons, like the controller. I mean, there's a lot of stuff there that I'm just so curious about. And also when it comes to preservation, I guess some people will be upset that, I mean, there's purists out there who would like it to just be preserved the way you found it. Because if you repair it, I mean, it's kind of using things. I mean, I have to watch the whole video, so I can't say exactly.
Yeah,
what
like
happened.
They didn't really alter the hardware, really. They just, I think a lot of the work was trying to map out all the circuitry and how it talked to the different parts of the circuit board and all that.
Yeah.
So they didn't really alter anything, like, hardware-wise. Other than, I think you had to replace a couple, like, capacitors and stuff because they went bad.
Yeah.
Well, other than that, it's the same thing.
Okay. Frank, got anything to add?
No. Well, I kind of agree. Like, if it's, I think it's just to be considered more of a piece of history than anything. So I feel like they shouldn't mess with it, you know, as far as, like, trying to, like, have homebrew for it and emulators and stuff like that. So I feel like it should just leave it as is and just have it, you know, because it's the only one. So I think it should just be left alone.
Well, that's not the reason why you want to get the emulators, is because it is the only one, and this is if this thing does go away, then we need to have at least something as a backup, and emulator is, like, the next best thing.
Well, okay, yeah, that's true. Emulator, as far as emulator is concerned, that's fine. I just don't think they should mess with the physical unit as well. Like, I think they need to just kind of let it be, you know, display it somewhere and just let it become a part of history.
Yeah.
All right. Next up. Now, I myself, and I know Frank definitely is, we're fans of a particular RPG series, Mario Luigi games.
Yes.
And it looks like the original one may be getting a port or a remake on the 3DS. So this comes from a data miner, goes by the name Scryz. But, like, he's digging around and he was able to find on Nintendo Store some code that, for it 2 logos. Well, I guess it's like the icon I have in the eShop. But one game, Ever Oasis, which was announced last year for 3DS, And the other one is Mario Luigi Superstar Saga DX. And it just shows a logo of Mario Luigi and a Goomba. There's some speculation that it's not just a remake of the original Mario Luigi Superstar Saga, but it's going to be including some mini games from Bowser's Inside Story. That's what. Yeah. So similar to how Zelda Four Swords came out on the GBA on the Game Boy Advance. So we had Link to the Past, and you had Four Swords as a separate title. I mean, that's the general idea of it right now, but it's not. There's no real data about this. But I mean, hey, that's. I mean, I think that's super cool. Mario Luigi Superstar Saga is one of my favorite Mario games. Period. Definitely my favorite Mario Luigi game. Yeah. So it is at this point. It seems to be pretty much a done deal. So we just got to see when exactly this is going to happen. I mean, yeah, Frank, I'll bounce this off you because I know you like these games.
I'm excited.
All right.
I'm excited, and if when it does happen, because it does seem like a kind of a done deal. But when it does happen, I will definitely jump on it the first opportunity I get. Yeah,
like I'm curious because it's not exactly clear if it's a remake or a port yet. So will they
either way? I think I'd be a little more excited for a remake, but if it was just a port, then that's cool too.
Yeah, I think the as you've seen from the later games, the graphic style translates very well.
Yeah,
they're virtually the same as the animated sprites.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it'll be cool. Because I just want to see Fawful again. Like Fawful's he's one of the best video game villains. Like he's one of my favorites. He's insane. But yeah, we'll update you guys like the minute we get something else with this. Hopefully soon. I mean, the E3's around the corner, so you never know.
I'll let you guys know.
Thank you. Thank you, Frank.
No problem. No problem at all. My pleasure.
I mean, I'll probably know before you because of the streams and stuff. You'll be out on the floor, like going to panels and playing games and be like all out of touch.
Hey, being on the floor playing panels, going to panels and playing games. Yeah, I'm fine with being out of touch.
I expect a full report though on Destiny 2 because I know it's going to be there.
Well, if I get the chance to play it, because it seems like that game is going to be. Well, I mean, the lines in general are going to be freaking ridiculous.
Bring your protein bars, man. You got to do it. Okay. So next up, I mean, this is a game we haven't really talked about on the podcast yet, but there's this game, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. It's like this new hit game that's been blowing up on PC and specifically Steam, and so the basis of this game is that there's it's massive map where there's 100 players dropped onto an island, and the goal is to kill each other. Similar to like a movie like Battle Royale or The Hunger Games, which people might be a little more familiar with. Now, the way the game works, there's it's almost a time limit. I mean, Alex, you could just clarify if I'm wrong, but there's this system where that over time, the map kind of closes in. There's this circle that you need to be inside.
Yeah, like there's a circle that pops up and the game gives you a warning like, oh, hey, you guys have like X amount of minutes to get to this area. And then there's like this energy field that kind of spawns in and then closes in. And anyone outside of that energy field at the specific time will slowly die.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. And so usually because of this, like the game is set up to where over time you have to make sure that you're the last person on the map that you have to kill someone. But so recently there's this player, this streamer, Kurt J Mac, or I assume that's the way you say it. But so he decided to play with a buddy, and what happens if we just try to play this game without killing anyone? And it is a very interesting clip to watch. I mean, the video is long, like there's over an hour and a half of footage of this, but essentially him and his buddy are just kind of like ducking around and throwing smoke bombs all the time. And it seems like they don't really know what they're doing. It's really interesting. But over time, as the circle encloses on them over and over and over, they get to this point where, well, they're still throwing smoke bombs around. They're not going to shoot anybody. And then the circle gets small and they're gradually losing health until, I guess, the last moment, I believe Kurt J. Mac just pops a bandage, which restores your health or raises it up. And it was enough so that he ended up being the last person with the largest health at the end of the game. So he ended up not killing anyone. And there's a video attached in the article from Kotaku. And you'll have to really skip to the moment, but it's a pretty nice reaction. Because he basically found a way to break the game's rules by just doing, well, I won't say doing nothing, but some kind of strange pacifism way. Like, honestly, it's one of the coolest stories I've heard all year. It's just like doing whatever you can to not not play the game the way they expect you to.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if you guys have any opinions on this.
Yeah, I saw a little bit. Yeah, so I didn't see the whole playthrough because I think, well, actually, like the story that we linked to, they give you the timestamps of like when the actual run is, and I think the run in its entirety is about like 40 minutes. I think I saw like the last 10 minutes or so. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like the shit was intense. I've seen other like gameplay of this game, and it's always like crazy and intense, and it's fun to watch, and it's a fun streamer game for sure. I just haven't dived in myself just because it's in early access right now, and I'm a little iffy on early access stuff. But yeah, just like the fact that he's playing this game that is meant to force people to kill each other, and he's saying no to that, I thought that was great, and that he was able to succeed in that goal was inspiring for me. So yeah, I enjoyed his little crusade that he went on, and I love that he was successful with it because that's fucking dope.
Yeah, man, that's really cool, and I echo the same things about the early access stuff because Steam, sometimes you don't really know with certain titles because early access is an alpha or a beta. And I would like the complete package. I mean, so far it's getting so much support.
Yeah, it's like the most popular game on Steam right now.
Yeah. So, who knows when exactly. Like, it'll happen eventually. I know sometimes they just release early access games as a game and update it later. But who knows? We'll have to see. And finally, the new Assassin's Creed game, some new data has been leaked. So a Reddit user was able to, he posted a little image and it just says your first look at Assassin's Creed Origins. And it shows what essentially is this man on a boat with like a bow and arrow. And it seems to take place in Egypt. Now, this has been rumors of an Egyptian Assassin's Creed game for quite some time. Even before this, there was actually rumors that this was Prince of Persia 0. And there's a few screenshots online that you could find that the rumors at the time was there's going to be a Prince of Persia game closer to Assassin's Creed, takes place in the same time frame as this one is, because this game seems to take place during the 5th Egyptian dynasty. So about 2500 BC. Or it could be somewhere from 2500 BC to 2300 BC. And it just shows a character across there saying you have to kill crocodiles because crocodiles are very prominent in Egyptian like stories. And I'm pretty excited. I think I forgot to mention that it is being made by the same team that worked on Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag. And it promises it'll have naval combat. They're also saying it might be the biggest Assassin's Creed game yet. So Black Flag, to me, is the second best Assassin's Creed game behind Assassin's Creed 2. And I would argue Assassin's Creed 4 is barely an Assassin's Creed game. There's a lot in there that is a bit different with naval combat stuff. So, man, I'm really interested to see what happens with this. I mean, Alex, I know you and I pretty much played a bunch of these. So how are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I'm very curious. I'm tentatively excited because for the longest time, just kind of been burned out on the Assassin's Creed games because they've been coming out every year, and this is the first time that they took a year off. So now that they've taken a year off, I'm very curious what that brings to the table in terms of anything new that they might bring to it with the franchise. So yeah, I'm very cautiously optimistic right now. I would like to see the Assassin's Creed franchise do new and exciting things, which is something I felt like they haven't done in a while, but right. I'd like to see where this goes.
Yeah. I also felt that, especially with Syndicate in particular, there's an in-canon, it's funny, Assassin's Creed 4, there's an in-canon reason why you can't drive cars in these games. Specifically, that the way the Animus works, it can't recall data easily. if you're driving in a car, because your body goes into this kind of relaxed mode where it doesn't remember things as well. Is that real? I can't answer that. That's probably might be bullshit, but that's the way they do it. And since Syndicate takes place in something very close to the modern era, like right before cars are going to blow up, like in terms of production-wise, I was always curious as to where they would go. But yeah, I think the franchise, if they want to continue it, is in need of a nice retooling. It needs a fresh start. And we'll see. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of like you. I mean, I've played Assassin's Creed and Assassin's Creed type games a lot, where they're pretty samey. Yeah, and I've spoken before about the Ubisoft problem. Like even a game like Watch Dogs has that in Far Cry, where you get these big maps with these towers and a bunch of collectibles that are kind of meaningless.
Even their driving game, The Crew, somehow stole a lot of that formula in terms of like climbing towers and getting icons and unlocking more of the world map. How do you do that with a car game?
You don't break the formula. It works, I guess. It's really frustrating. It's really silly, but hey, you know, well, hopefully we'll get something soon. I'm going to imagine.
E3 is around the corner. I'm sure we'll find out more. That's usually when they blow up big in terms of Assassin's Creed news and trailers and all that.
Exactly. And since they said they're taking a year off, it's time. There's no more perfect time. So, yeah, I mean, well, I guess we'll see hopefully soon. And if willing, Frank will try it, may or may not give us an update on it.
We'll see. We'll just have to see about that.
But Frank, the guy's from Egypt, though.
Hey, doesn't mean it's going to be a good game.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
The Nile's not only a river in Egypt?
Nah, God.
With that, we're going to end the headlines of this week.
Well, actually, Khalik, if you don't mind, there's actually a headline that I came across fairly recently that I would like to talk about.
Oh, yeah, sure. Please.
It's actually it involves Video Game Hall of Fame. I think that's pretty important, right?
Okay.
So there were actually 4 games that were inducted into the class of 2017 World Video Game Hall of Fame. And the 4 games are, without any preamble, is Donkey Kong, the original Donkey Kong, Street Fighter 2, and the first installments of Halo and Pokemon. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to draw attention to that happened. That was a thing. Street Fighter 2 made it. We're back with Nintendo and Street Fighter. So
yeah, I just want to say I am so surprised Donkey Kong wasn't already in there.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at this list, I mean, all these games are insanely prominent and influential, but Donkey Kong has been around way longer than any of these. I mean,
and isn't the original Super Mario Brothers also? Didn't they also get on the list like last year or 2 years ago? I think the first year, 2015, was the first year, and Mario Brothers was on there, and that's ironic that Mario Brothers was on there before Donkey Kong, because Donkey Kong introduced Mario.
Yeah, but Super Mario Brothers was a more influential game.
Oh yeah, clearly.
Okay, see, okay, because you're saying that, I need to know, do you mean Super Mario Brothers or
Super Mario Brothers?
Because Mario Brothers is a very different game.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to clear it up.
Super Mario Brothers. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can get it on that level, sure. And I mean, I'm fine with this. Like, this is, I don't think a lot of people can really argue. I mean, people might argue with Halo, right? Like, why doesn't something like Doom go in?
I mean, Doom's already in there. That's why.
Yeah.
Oh, what? Oh, I'm sorry.
No worries.
Yeah, but no. If honestly, if the modern era, like, it's pretty much the biggest first-person shooter. I mean,
yeah, it kind of like brought first-person shooters to consoles in a very meaningful way. Like it figured out like the controller problem for that people have been struggling with for a long time before that.
Yeah, and I mean, I got to say, I've played. That's the only one I really put time into because I never really owned an Xbox, but I played that game a lot. That game is legit one of my favorite first-person shooter party games. Like, we're just in a group, multiplayer. Yeah, just I don't think there's like too many. Well, Halo 2 is still pretty good, but like this one is, it deserves it. It really does.
Playing rockets and swords. Let's go.
Wait, Swords was in the first one.
Well, second one, but yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, it's really good times, but yeah. Sounds dope, man. That's really awesome.
But yeah, I just felt like that definitely should have been something that we could share.
Yeah, I want to see online if people start complaining, where's Pokemon Blue? Like I want people like I really want to see.
Tell them to shut up.
Yeah.
Where's Pokemon Blue? No,
like it's not.
No,
it's not the original. It's not one of the originals. Like
right.
It's the third game. Like it's very funny. But
and for what Khalik is referring to, that the first Pokemon game were inducted, but they inducted both the red version and the green version,
the Japanese
versions.
Yeah.
So
this is when people ask why it was Fire Red and Leaf Green, the GBA Game Boy Advance remakes, it's specifically because Pokemon Blue is the third iteration of the original two games. Mm-hmm. Like it's actually Pokemon Green has a Venusaur on the cover, but we never got those games over here. I don't think they're necessarily, like, from what I can tell, like they're pretty similar packages overall. So it is what it is. Mm-hmm. But yeah, man, I'm really happy. I'm just wanting to see, now that like Halo is the most modern game on this list, I want to see how far does this go? What happens next year? It seems like, well, there's only a few entries a year, which is fine because I don't think you need to be overloading this. It's like any other Hall of Fame class.
Yeah, I think like the first year had the most with like 6 entries. Mm-hmm. Second in 2016 had I think also 4 or 5. I don't really remember, but yeah, they don't. What were you gonna say?
I kind of love the fact that this game didn't quite make the cut this year, but it got really close, and it's Microsoft Windows Solitaire.
That's awesome.
Wait, not Minesweeper though?
No, not Minesweeper though.
What about Cadet? What's the name of that pinball
Space
game?
Cadet pinball.
Space Cadet. Yeah, Space Cadet 3D.
Man, that game is so good.
Yeah, man. But yeah, hopefully next year. We'll see. Yeah, and I guess with that, we're done with the headlines of this week. Yes. Unless you got something else, Frank.
No, that's it. I just thought that was kind of important. So,
of course.
So, thank you. And we're now going to move into new and upcoming releases, and Alex is going to go ahead and talk about what we can look forward to for this week. So, go ahead.
Yeah, so for this week, the week of May 9th, 2017, we've got a couple things for you. First up is Strafe, in all capital letters. That's for the PlayStation 4 and PC. We've also got Last Stitch Goodnight for PlayStation 4. Birthday's The Beginning for PlayStation 4 and PC. Harvest Moon Save the Homeland for PlayStation 4. Human Fall Flat for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. I know that's been out on PC for a while now. We've also got Rime, that's RIME, for the PlayStation 4. And I'm very excited for this one. This has been long coming, but Lethal League is now finally out for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One.
Yo, Alex.
What? Talk to me, man.
Yo, we're in there.
What's up? We in there.
Yo, we in there.
Oh, it's like that now? Okay.
Yo,
it's like
okay.
that.
Yo, that game is dope.
I gotta get on this.
Oh, it's so cool. It's so great.
Okay.
The Loco Roco remake is now out as well this week for the PlayStation 4. I'm curious if they ever put like motion controls in that, because that thing feels like it would work, but it also could be very annoying if you had to do that all the time. I don't know. Also out this week is NBA Playgrounds for the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Ploybius for the PlayStation 4. Resident Evil Code Veronica X for the PlayStation 4.
Holy shit.
Wow.
I'm fairly certain that is just a straight port, no other fancy remake stuff going on in there.
That's correct.
In DLC, we've got Forza Horizon 3 Hot Wheels for the Xbox One and PC. I'm pretty sure they got like full on like loop-de-loops and all that in this thing. It's
with the tracks and all that. That's dope.
Yeah, they went above and beyond for this one.
That sounds really cool, though. Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
Also out this week is Revenant Saga for PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, and the Vita. Narcosis is out for the Xbox One. Minecraft is out for the Switch edition. Arcade Archives Neo Geo The King of Fighters 95 for PlayStation 4.
Interesting.
I'm almost certain there's no online play though in that. Again, probably another straight port.
Guaranteed. Guaranteed.
Yeah. Never is.
And then finally, in PC exclusive stuff this week, the only one I saw that I figured we should mention is Farming Simulator 17 Big Bud expansion. Excuse me. I have no idea what that means, but I'm sure I can guess.
I think I know, but okay. I didn't want to think about it like that.
Yeah,
for sure.
Like if you think about it, like you might be setting yourself up for disappointment. I don't know, but that's out there, and that will actually do it for our new releases this week.
Big Bud expansion. That was the only one that you. But okay, so thank you.
You're welcome.
So that's it. We are done with this episode. So before we officially go, we would like you, as always, to visit innercitygeeks.com if you haven't already by the time you've listened to this episode, because that's where we are and where we have a bunch of stuff sometimes regarding everything geek. You can view and or subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's Good Games. You can find some past episodes there. So go ahead and take a listen that way if it's more convenient for you. We understand. You can also listen to us on iTunes, where you can leave us a review. Just leave us a review no matter what you think of the show, whether you like it, whether you don't like it. Just let us know how we're doing. You can listen to us on TuneIn, and you can basically listen to us where all podcasts are available. And I also want to encourage everyone that if you're going to do any kind of Amazon shopping, there's going to be an Amazon banner on the right-hand side of the innercitygeeks.com page. When you click that, it'll take you to Amazon. Then go ahead and buy whatever it is that you were going to buy. And when you do that, a bit of that will come back towards us so we can provide more show and more content for you. You can reach us on all the social media, mainly Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at Inner City Geeks. The Twitter for this show is at Good Game Podcast. You can email us at goodgamespodcast@gmail.com. And that actually will about do it for this episode. So thank you everyone for listening. Hope you enjoyed the crazy stories. And we did it, guys. Hit 150. You know, more members, more episodes. It's good stuff.
High fives all around.
Yeah, virtual. We're gonna say goodbye. And in leaving, as always, we say good games, everybody.
Good games.
Good games.